What up, world? We are back. College football conference championship week. That's the wrong overlay. Awesome. As I go fix this, I'll let Q take over once again. Arch Manning, come on in.
Arch Manning got the arm ready. It's still loose from last Tuesday. What's going on, Nick? Smitty, conference championship weekend. This is kind of like playoffs before the playoffs in the 12-team format. This is, to me, it's got a little bit different feeling. What's your guys' thoughts? Nobody answered.
This is.
I was gonna be polite there and let Nick go, but no, I'll jump in real quick. No, I'm excited for some of the games tonight. I think the one I think a lot of people are going to be on is the UNLV Boise State game. That has just that's just such a big game. But I'm gonna enjoy watching Tulane Army because I just like watching the service teams play a little bit, and I think that one's an intriguing matchup.
Nick?
Yeah, this is an interesting weekend. First time with 12 teams in a playoff. Like you basically have 5 of the 8 games have like real meaning to see who gets in the playoffs. I think that's awesome. Like there's been in the past, like the last few years, where it's 4 teams. Most of these games don't mean anything. They've kind of been de facto like bowl games. Like it's awesome if you win it, but does it really mean anything for your future? No. So I'm excited now that all these games, most of them, have basically when you're in your in the playoffs. I think that's awesome.
And Q, real quick, a couple of these games too, like you have rumors about Rich Rod maybe going back to West Virginia. You have the Marshall team in the conference championship too. And it does not, I think it sounds like rumors. I don't know the head coach off the top of my head. There's rumors about him taking the Southern Miss job, and there's some problems there with the Marshall, like boosters with him. So, how are some of these teams going to react with that? Are they going to be really motivated? Is the coach going to be really motivated? That's the question.
All right, let's get right into the first matchup, which is not one of those. Wow, we're just like killing it today, aren't we?
Western Kentucky, Jacksonville.
Tulane and Army. There we go. Talking about the service academies that Smitty is ready to talk about. Smitty, why don't you go first here? Are you doing anything in this Tulane Army game?
I did. This is a tough one because, the Army, after they got really beat up against Notre Dame, they lost some defensive guys, and that was an issue on this. I know what our site has. We talked on the show the other day about this coach from Tulane. He's seen the option. He's really shut it down. I think it was Nick that said that he thought it could be a high scoring game. I was kind of intrigued with that too, but this head coach, he's 11-0 ATS as a road favorite in his career. I said it on the show the other day. They're 5-0 straight up, 5-0 this year ATS on the road. It's going to be a cold night. I think it's going to be an intriguing game. I matched it up. I did a money line parlay. I matched them up, and I'll say it. I took Jacksonville State. I matched up Tulane, Jacksonville State, got it plus 129.
Nick, Q, y'all doing anything in this one?
I am thinking about, I know I mentioned on a show Tuesday how I like the over. Doing more research and kind of like, Matt, you put me on it, like where Summerall, how successful he's been against defending a triple option or teams that are close to running a triple option. I kind of like the Tulane team total. Right now it's sitting at 25.5. The only time they haven't hit that number this year has been against Oklahoma. And obviously Oklahoma's defense is, we've seen, way better than Army's and anybody else they've faced. So it kind of makes sense. They didn't hit it last week against Memphis, but that was a weird game as well. This 25.5 seems a little bit low. Like this Army defense has not been great this year. We've seen like they've hit, I believe, the over just in their combined games. 10 of the 12 games they've hit the over. I kind of want to take Army out. Like, is Bryson Daly, as Smitty mentioned, is he fully healthy? We don't know. He's kind of been getting beat up. I mean, he's like at 200 something rushes on a season. That kind of that catches up to you at some point. So I haven't played it yet, but I might play this Tulane team total here, as I think they are the better team and are going to win. 25.5 seems pretty low.
Yeah,
I have Sorry, go ahead.
All right. I was just going to touch on what Nick said. John Summerall, the head coach of Tulane, has seen the option 3 times. 2022, 2023 were against Navy, 2024 against Navy or Army. 24 was Navy, and that what they blanked them, didn't they? 35-0 or something.
Mm.
He's only allowed to combine 9 points. That stat, courtesy of Brad Powers. Q?
I'm following suit with Nick. I think I'm going to play the team total. I could see this being like a 28-13 type game, 28-10. I like Tulane here. I have them in a money line parlay as well. I think they're the better team. I think Summerall is the better coach. Does Tulane feel like they can get in the college football playoff? Like, does this game mean a lot to them? I don't necessarily think so, but maybe use it as false momentum. Obviously, I think we think UNLV, Boise State winner is pretty much in by default, but who's to say that, something doesn't happen by miracle and you take it and use it for your team. So I like Tulane.
Hey, what? Hey, Matt,
Tulane too. My power ratings have Tulane favored by 8. And this is calculated to be a neutral site game, even though it is in West Point.
Hey, Matt, real quick. One more thing, Q said about motivation. I don't think Tulane can get it. I don't think they're going to get in it, but still win a championship. But 2, I think another thing you got to think about is it is a championship game, but overall, Army still has Navy next week. That's probably their biggest game on the schedule every year. So that's another thing. Or is their mindset going to be thinking about that game? So, and I did not even think about playing the team points in this, but that one's intriguing. I might look at that too, boys, and jump on with you guys.
It's so weird having a conference championship. By the way, you got to play one more week.
Yeah. By the way, you got the Navy game. Yep.
Yeah. So weird.
Next up, we've got the rematch we're all looking forward to. UNLV 10-2 taking on Boise State 11-1. Ashton Jeanty was held to 3.9 yards per carry in UNLV's last matchup. Do you think the running Rebs have a chance here to win part due, or is it Boise State's?
I think it's Boise State, and I think you said it best. Might have been Tuesday or on Jeff's show earlier, the weather. Boise State's going to be cold. It's a night game. I just think the game will, at the end of the game, when you have an Ashton Jeanty who can run the ball, really eat the clock, just constantly hitting those pads against people as a running back, like Boise State's just going to wear them down. And then to further back my point, Trent on X, what is he from Picker or Better Pick or whatever? Book it. He just put 10 units on UNLV, so that's an audit fade.
Damn it. Why, Trent? Why?
Yeah. So at Boise.
I know Nick was a fan of the over. They had 30 points at halftime, and then scoring kind of halted in the fourth. Boise State let UNLV score 14 in the third, but then only 6 points combined in the fourth. You still thinking over, Nick?
I am. And it's a lot of it is put on just numbers in general. This is kind of the gambler's type of dream where it's like a lot of kind of casuals will just with their eyes and kind of bet what they see. This is where numbers kind of come in. There's no reason that this game closed at 67.5, basically 2 months ago, and now it's at 57.5. We saw this game. Yes, there was only 53 points put up, but that was a weird game. I believe there were 6 turnovers in it. Ashton Jeanty, that was the worst game he's had, even though you mentioned it, 3-point-something yards to carry. He still had 138. I think he goes off. I think this is one where it's like, hey, remember me? I'm in the Heisman race. Colorado's done. You won't see Travis Hunter anymore. I think this is Boise State's chance to. I don't think he wins it. I still think it's Travis Hunter's. We've seen what the numbers say is minus 700, which is the books are telling you who's going to win. But I think Boise wants to put on a show here, and Jeanty wants to put on a show. I could see them getting in the 40s, which means UNLV, who has one of the best offenses in the country, if they get in the 20s, then great, that overhits. I think that's what we get. I think we got 53 last time. I think we get 57.5 just seems low. It's going to be chilly. You mentioned it. It's on the Smurf turf, but it's a fast track. I think there's no wind. I think the wind is 1.8 miles an hour. So it shouldn't really affect UNLV's passing game. I just think this is an over game. Like I said, numbers mean the most to a lot of us gamblers. 57.5 compared to 67.5 where it closed. 2 months ago. It's just way too much of a discrepancy. These teams are not that much different than they were 2 months ago. So yeah, give me the over as a number play. And heck, who doesn't want Friday night fireworks?
Yeah, I completely agree with Nick there. I think the first game, watching it was a weird game. There was many opportunities in that game to score. And I think everybody thought that was going to be one of those games that was just going to be out of control. And it was going to be, it's at in Vegas there on that field's really the, fast atmosphere there. And
it was
I know
Malik Williams' first start of the year. That's another thing too, where he's more comfortable now.
Great
Still ran for 105 yards. Had 3 total touchdowns.
And, and here's the thing, like you said, it's going to be cold, but the wind's not an issue. UNLV has played, that San Jose State game. That was, I think, in pouring down rain, and that was some bad conditions, and they went out there and played. So they played in some bad conditions. Now, the cold can affect people in different ways and everything like this. I have not played this, but again, I agreed with Nick earlier in the week, and we talked about it. I think this is an over. I'd look at team points for one of these teams. I think both teams will score. I think Boise State gets out of this. I think they win this game, but I think it's a high-scoring game.
All right, next up, Western Kentucky, Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State started off rocky this season, and they got going. Do you think Western Kentucky has a chance here to keep this one close? I know Smitty already said he is parlaying.
Well, and I'll go real quick on this. I didn't, I've watched Jacksonville State, Rich Rod team. I kind of like him. Western Kentucky, a couple weeks ago, team points, and they didn't get off the bus. I know the starting quarterback's been a little dinged up for Jacksonville State. I think the backup has played. We really want that starter. He needs to be in there because he can pass, he can run. We kind of need that. I still think they're the better team. I think they win this game. I think it's a close, look at our site there. It's a close game there, but I think overall I like Jacksonville State. That's why I just matched it up there and did the money line parlay tonight.
Q, Nick?
I have nothing.
Yeah. I lean Jacksonville State with Smitty. I also lean the under in this one. This is one where these teams played each other last week. And you could say maybe they held something back offensively, maybe they didn't, but this is still going to be very familiar with each other's offenses. Mitchell Huff, we don't know if he's playing the quarterback for Jacksonville State. If he doesn't play, then this is a hammer the under. He's not available on any player props on any sites. So it sounds like it's going to be a true game time decision. But I lean, if he plays, let me preface that. If Huff plays, I lean Jacksonville State. But yeah, this is a stay away from me, especially with him being questionable, because he does mean so much of their offense, whether it's passing and rushing.
All right, going over to the Saturday slate. We start off at noon with Iowa State, Arizona State. I'm really excited about this one. I love the Sun Devils here. Kenny Dillingham has been great. Matt Campbell as a dog, not so great. Matt Campbell in his career, 0-5. He's 0-4 at Iowa State. But 0-5 on a neutral as an underdog. So give me Arizona State here.
I'm with it. Kenny Dillingham, Coach of the Year, in my opinion. Scatabo is going to be the X factor. They're playing in an indoor facility, fast track. He should be able to run all over Iowa State because Iowa State's defense has one flaw, and it's protecting against the rush, which is the strength of Arizona State. I know they're missing their top receiver, but I think they have enough guys, enough contributors to where they can kind of still balance out the offense, have some guys catching passes, keep them honest, and give Scatabo the opportunity to run.
The website has Iowa State as a favorite, and it kind of shocks me because you look at their offensive success rate, 91st, 92nd against the rush. Well, that's what Arizona State does the best. Offense success rate, number 10 for Arizona State. I feel like if you're talking about who's going to be able to control the game, you've got to lean offensively. It's Arizona State, even despite not having their starting or their best receiver. Defense, nothing really to write home about. They're 84th in defensive success rate against the rush. 41st against the pass, but again, without that receiver, I feel like you're going to get a lot of Cam Scatterbo in this game. And I don't know if Iowa State can slow them down. Smitty?
Yeah, I'm going to go opposite. I'm going to go on Iowa State here. We got to do it. We got to change it up a little bit here. So, yeah, you said the numbers with Campbell, and I had those down too. But here's the thing. Now it depends. They gotta load up the box here. They lost their top wide receiver. Load up the box. Try to take the running game out. I want the quarterback to make some throws in this game for Arizona State. I just think Iowa State does have some playmakers at wide receiver. They have two really good wide receivers in this. So I did take the +1.5 at minus 115, and I'm going to play it. And I think sprinkle on the money line. I think Iowa State gets it done. But a great job by the coach. What a great job with Arizona State this year. But Iowa State's going to get this one.
Smitty's went 0-5 in college as well, but the sixth try, he got it down.
Nick, do you have anything else to add?
Multiple degrees. I could be a doctor.
All right.
No, it's a stay away from me. No, you're good. It's a stay away from me. I don't really have anything to play. I know Tyson being out is massive for Arizona State. He has like 58%. Like when they throw the ball, he has 58% of targets. And then Cam Scatterbo is twice with 27%. So you think of those two alone, you're in the 70s. Almost 80% of your targets are between those two guys. You're missing one of them. That kind of makes me nervous. I might lean under because I do think this is going to be heavy lean on Scatterbo. I think we saw how bad. Beck, I loved him. Like, I think I was so high on Mike Rocco Beck at the beginning of the year. And then what was he, like 12 or 38 or something last week? Like, I know the weather wasn't great, but it was brutal. So I would probably lean under. But it's as of right now, it's a stay away.
All right, Maction time. Ohio, Miami of Ohio. Who you got?
Ask me. I got nothing.
Couple not very good teams.
I played money line. I'm on Miami of Ohio.
Yeah.
I think
play this game?
I think this is a better team. The quarterbacks have been there. I mean, Q's talking about me going to college like that. I mean, geez, this guy's been there about 10 years.
I think you guys roomed together.
I think we did. I think we had a camp together. But no, I think if you break these teams down, Miami of Ohio, they beat Northern Illinois. They beat Bowling Green. I just think it's a really good team. I like the defense. I think this could be a low scoring game. I don't even know what the total is in this. I didn't
44.
44. Yeah. Well, of course. Yeah, it's going to be low scoring. I just looked at the money line. I think the better team is Miami of Ohio. I think they'll get it done.
I want to say their win total was like 5.5, if I'm not mistaken. So they had a really good season.
They are 12th and 17th in points allowed.
Mm-hmm.
And
where's
on
this game
offense,
Detroit. Fort Field.
Detroit.
Fort Field.
Yeah, like 90th, and probably going to stay under the total. I may follow you on that one.
Yeah, I'm on it. It's one of my favorite plays of the week. I think right now it's actually dropped. So you can get Miami of Ohio 1.5 right now on FanDuel. So I think I'm probably going to be, I'm on them. I haven't played it just because just been busy. But yeah, that's absolutely one of my favorite plays of the week. And Miami of Ohio is just flat out better team. They're actually healthy for the first time. You mentioned the quarterback. It's Gabbert. We've heard that name just around college forever. I can't remember where he transferred from, but I think Miami of Ohio is a much better team.
All right, the big one, Georgia-Texas rematch. This is going to be a good game. I feel like I know Q is riding with the dogs. I'm on the Longhorns here. I think coaching advantage, definitely Kirby Smart, but Sark, he's got to have something up his sleeve. I don't think that he gets blown out by Georgia. If Texas can play the defense that they've been playing, they've only allowed 17 or fewer points in the last 4 games. And Kirby Smart's 2-4 against the spread as a neutral field underdog. He's 2-4 straight up as well. So I think Sark gets it right and makes the College Football Playoff Committee have to sweat one less thing here.
Yeah, I am opposite. I'll just jump in since somebody else wanted to. I do think, and I'll say this, I do agree. I think it's going to be a closer game. Even though it was only 15 points, it felt like it was about 25 points in the last meeting. I think the biggest issue in this game, though, is the SEC denying Bevo. We got to get that changed. The Longhorns got to be there. I think that's the spotlight of this game. Last time, and I think it's because of Georgia. Last time he tried to charge Georgia when Ellinger beat him in a bowl game, and Uga wasn't having it. So, no, in all reality, I think Kirby's going to keep the SEC title on an SEC team. I know, obviously, Texas is SEC, but it's their first year. Like, I just think, even though the 2-4, I think this is a game where Carson Beck's been playing well as of late, limiting the turnovers. I said it Tuesday. They definitely should have blown out Georgia Tech. They did it, but I think the mentality now in this 12-week playoff is like, hey, we just got to win this game. It was ugly. We're going to move past this. No harm, no foul. Let's focus on Texas. And so I think you'll get a much more amped up Georgia for this game. And I think they're going to have a massive crowd. It's in Atlanta. I think they'll probably have majority of the crowd. And I think the Bulldogs win.
Yeah, I'll go. Go ahead, Nick. Go ahead. No, go ahead, bud.
Okay, mine's kind of quick. So I'm not taking a side here. I love the first half under. If there's 25 and a half out there, there's 24 and a half. So I would play it probably anything above 24 and a half or better. I think we saw in the first matchup, that was a Kirby Smart, like, put on a clinic of like what he knew Texas was going to do. I think that's why we saw Arch against A&M. I think they had to be licking their chops when they saw what Haynes King was doing to Georgia last week. So we're going to see Arch. I think we're going to see a little bit more of kind of that RPO with him getting, I bet he gets probably 10 to 15 snaps. But I think this is a very low scoring game. There's 45 points total in the last one, with it finishing 30 to 15. But Georgia ended up with 30, and 3 of their scoring drives started within their own 30 yard line because there were 7 total turnovers. I think Texas has been a lot better with the ball. They'll be safer. Does Kelvin Banks play, though, is sort of a massive, with their left tackle. He's probably going to be the top left tackle taken in the draft. I know he's questionable, so that one is a big deal if he doesn't play. But if he doesn't, then that kind of helps my under even more. So avoid the sides here. I'm going to take first half under. I think there's some feeling out process, even though they played each other already. And there's going to be some slow it down. Nobody wants to make a mistake in a championship game like this. So first half under, 24 and a half or better.
I think there's a lot of people, if you listen to a lot of shows, saying that Texas is playing the wrong quarterback. And I agree with what Nick just said there. I think you're going to see Arch get a lot more snaps, especially everything you're hearing in the red zone. I think you're going to see that. The big thing, we've said this for how many weeks, guys? We've said this is not the same Georgia team that it's been over the last couple of years, and I agree with you. I know what they did. I was on Georgia in the first meeting. I'm on Georgia again. I got the +3. I think this one's tight. I agree with Q. Home field. This is like a home game. Now, the question mark is Beck. What kind of Beck do we get? Is he thrown to the wrong team? That we can't predict, or we'd be millionaires and I wouldn't even be doing this show. I'd be on the beach somewhere. So but I still think this is, I kind of like it too. I think a lot of these games, it could start slow. I think it could be very competitive, very good defense. Matt, you said Texas, fantastic defense. They've been playing really well. Georgia looked really lost last week against Georgia Tech. I think it's competitive. Give me the +3. I'm going to take a chance. Kirby Smart, 8-4 at Georgia as a dog ATS. So let's go with Georgia +3.
I want to pose a final question, and you can help answer, Matt. Arch Manning came into that first game and looked absolutely shell-shocked. What did he do? 2 drives, I think, drive and a half maybe. Knowing that Haynes King just ran at will against Georgia, knowing that Arch Manning has that ability over Quinn Ewers, I've got to imagine Georgia's DC and Kirby are planning for that, but also they've already seen Arch and he was shell shocked. Now I do think you'll probably get a slightly more prepared Arch, but I can't imagine he grew from being shell shocked to being this elite quarterback versus the Georgia defense in a matter of a few weeks. I think there's still going to be growing pains. Matt, you were getting ready to say something, if you don't mind answering that one and kind of wrap a bow on this. What's your thought on that? Because they've already kind of seen him and he looked horrible.
Yeah, I can't remember at what point of the game he was coming in. I feel like Georgia was
after halftime. It was, second quarter. It was second quarter. It was going into
right before that. Right before the half. Yeah, right before
the half. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Georgia was already rolling at that point. I think they were up, like 20, 23 or something, 22.
Something. Yeah.
Nothing. So I don't know. I'm going to throw that out. I think you're going to definitely see him more, but I don't think you've seen the same Quinn Ewers that was in the college football playoff last year. Like
I think he's regressed.
And maybe so. I still think Arch Manning should be the second string, maybe more of like a 1A, 1B type thing. But I think if Quinn is good, I mean, he's got really good receivers to throw to. He's going to be able to find them. I honestly, I think this Georgia-Texas game that we've seen previously, I think that was a one-off. Sark knows that he's going to get to reevaluate the team, see what Georgia did. And I think the biggest thing is just going to be limit Georgia from jumping out big. I mean, because like Smitty said, what Carson Beck do you get? Fun fact, Carson Beck has thrown 3 picks in 3 games this year, and Georgia is 2-1 in those. Most notably against Texas, where they won. He threw 3 picks. He threw 3 against Florida, and they won that one. Threw 3 against Alabama. And, of course, they almost came back and won that one. So I think even if Carson Beck is bad, Georgia still finds a way to win. However, like I said, for like the 15th time, I feel like Sark is going to have Texas better prepared for this.
For sure.
You can't get punched in the mouth right out the gate. And I think he knows that, and I think he's going to challenge the defense to step up and prevent that from happening. Let Quinn get under his feet, get the ball rolling down the field, put in Arch, mix it up, and command control of this game.
I like it.
All right, there you go. I'll be on the sidelines. Next up, we've got Marshall at Louisiana for the Sun Belt Championship. Y'all doing anything in this one? Another tight spread. I don't think there's a single game that's less than 6 or more than 6 points on the board.
I don't have anything, so you guys go ahead. I didn't spend much time looking on it.
Yeah, I looked at it. This has dropped from, I think, 6 is where it opened up. But there is so much kind of surrounding that coach of Marshall. I believe Q kind of mentioned it towards the beginning. There's a lot. So we'll see. I think Louisiana has just been the better team all day long. So that's where I would lean. There is no play for me. But, yeah, I would definitely lean Raging Cajuns here.
Yeah, I did a money line parlay. I matched them with somebody. I'll talk in a second about it. And it's because of the coach. I think there's some issues there. I've heard there's some locker room. There's some boosters that aren't happy. It sounds like he's going to go to Southern Miss. So motivation, I don't know. I think the Raging Cajun is the right play here. I just didn't want to mess around with anything. Let's match it up with another team that I think is going to win and do a money line parlay.
Well, hopefully your other team is SMU, sitting at 11-1 in the driver's seat to make the college football playoff as your ACC champ, taking on Clemson, who once again found their way to get into this. I don't trust Dabo here. I'm on SMU. I'll let you guys take it away.
Real quick, I was a little cautious about SMU heading into last weekend, and then when I saw South Carolina, pretty much punched Clemson in the mouth, that offense was rolling in Clemson, and then it just kind of came to an utter stop when they played the Gamecocks. I thought Dabo was getting something going. Maybe not. SMU here, -2.5 all day long.
Website
I'm
has
not
it
confident.
5. Nick?
Yeah, I'm not as confident as Q. I haven't played anything yet. I lean SMU being a better team. But doesn't this just like scream where it's like this is what Dabo has wanted
It does.
for like
It
years,
does.
where it's
It's
just
in my
like
head.
we're in Charlotte, we're hosting a smaller team that we should have more talent than. We don't use the transfer portal, and now it's just one more reason he can scream from the rooftops about like why the transfer portal doesn't matter, because they'll be ACC champs. They'll probably be, if they win, they're the 12 or 4 seed. And if you're SMU, we've kind of talked about it a bit. Like SMU, we think, at least I do, and I know kind of Matt feels the same way. I think SMU's in no matter what. This is do or die for Clemson. They're playing in Charlotte, where Dabo's only lost once It's going to be 90% Clemson fans. This is probably also the best defense that SMU has played. Their only loss was BYU, but that was a shootout with BYU's offense. I am kind of nervous about this one, so I haven't played it. I kind of like you mentioned, they did not look good against South Carolina, but I think South Carolina's defense and Lenora Sellers is better than SMU is. So I don't know. Like I said, I've been going around in circles in this one. I think SMU is the better team, but just everything kind of screams this is what Dabo wants. This is like it's a win or go home for Clemson. So I don't know. I will lean SMU, but this is probably a stay away.
Hey, can we tell SMU to figure out why Charlotte looks like you're playing in like the Andes Mountains? Can we fix that?
What? I know.
Like, Jesus.
Dabo Swinney on a neutral's 21-11 for what it's worth.
Mm-hmm. And I think Charlotte. I think he's 7-1 in Charlotte. I think it was something like that. I read.
Yeah, this is one I do have a play, but it was tough because you got the quarterback that's taken over for SMU 9-0 since the switch, and I kind of agree. You got the home field here. They've lived this. They've been there before. And I agree with what Nick just said there, man. He doesn't, we've said from how many shows too, like all this now is buy kids, get kids in here and let's do this. He won't do any of it. Now he might come back and still win the ACC championship. So I did the under 55.5. I just kind of look at this. I think I saw on a site that SMU, some of their ACC games have been lower scoring games. So I'm going to go. If you look, Klubnik was really taken off there maybe a month and a half ago. And then he's kind of settled down a little bit. Running back, their main running back's a little banged up too. That's a concern. So that's why I kind of looked at this. The play of the quarterback from Clemson, the running back's nicked up. Defense is good for Clemson, and they've been there, home field. I think it's a lower scoring game. I'm going to take the under 55.5.
Yeah, I think both of these defenses are underrated. I said it on Jeff's show. Now that I've got the stats in front of me, defense success rate 12th for SMU, 27th for Clemson. Both of these defenses aren't really going to jump off the page at you, but the data behind them is that they're pretty good. And Clemson, Georgia went under, SMU, BYU went under. Those are the two best defenses that each team has faced all year. So I lean under as well. I just really want that SMU in the playoff. So even if they lose, like Nick said, I think they are deserving of a playoff spot. So to round us out, Penn State, Oregon in a cross-the-country Big Ten matchup for the championship in Indianapolis. What better place than Lucas Oil for Oregon to get it going? As Ken says, Oregon minus 3.5. Who knows something? I agree. They were talking on VSiN earlier today. They have not heard a single person come out and say they're on Penn State here. That's kind of worrisome because I love Oregon. I took a minus 170 for 2 units on the money line. Just get the win. I don't trust James Franklin. He's 1 in what I said earlier, 1-11 or 1-13 against top 5. Their lone win coming in 2016 against Ohio State, I believe. Big game, James. Do it again, man.
I know, not to jump in real quick. I wrote down a stat today I saw, Matt. You're just saying 0-9 straight up, 2-7 ATS as a dog, Penn State. So just something with that. I'll go real quick. I matched this up. I couldn't figure out either. I think this is a weird one. On VSiN 2, Follow the Money, they've been talking about that they don't even know how many people are going to be here because it's just so much travel, and they know they're going to be in the playoffs. So that's one thing to kind of keep an eye on the crowd level in this game. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But that's what they talked about yesterday. I just think overall Oregon's a better team. I don't trust Franklin either. I think Penn State is a very good quality team, and I think they're going to give somebody a great game in the playoffs and everything like that. But I think Oregon's the better team. So what I did, this was my with Lafayette, the Raging Cajun, I money line parlayed plus 134. I got Oregon money line in this one too.
Nick,
Yeah, this is a weird one. This almost does feel like that number you mentioned it, 3.5. Does somebody know something? Especially because it's coming down. Like you look at the money right now. Now it's 3.5 minus 105 at a couple books. Even though 88% of the bets are on Oregon and 90% of the money is on Oregon. So why is this not moving? Like why is this number stayed the same? It feels very weird. I heard an interview with kind of a high up at DraftKings. And they said they're actually giving a 1.5 to Penn State, like it's a home field advantage to Penn State. They just don't think Oregon's going to travel. I kind of agree with that. 1.5 might be a bit much, but that still tells you Oregon by 5. What I'm going to do here is I'm absolutely playing Oregon. I have not been a believer in Penn State the entire season. I think I'm going to be taking Oregon minus 3.5. I'm probably going to do a couple alt lines at 6.5, 9.5, and 13.5, and kind of just see how high I can get it. Because as Smitty mentioned, both these teams are in no matter what happens. We've said James Franklin in big games. So if Penn State's down 10, what's the motivation to keep it close? Like, why do you keep Aller in the game? Why do you keep like the running backs who have been basically, they combine for 35 or 36 carries a game? Why risk those guys getting hurt? I think if something like Oregon gets up 10 points, I could see this kind of just call off the dogs. Let it get ugly. Tej Johnson's back for Oregon. So I think I'm going to play some alt lines here as well on top of that minus 3.5.
Q?
Yeah, I played the money line. I also bought the 0.5 point because of that worry. Why was it not coming off 3.5? So I got it at minus 3. I also have them in a money line parlay with Tulane as well as Boise. So I'm all Oregon Ducks here. I'm all Dan Lanning. I think he's just got them firing on all cylinders. I think they're fully believing in the system. Morale's at all-time high. Confidence is all-time high. Like they really feel themselves right now, and that's a dangerous thing when you play in playoff format.
Ken, appreciate you being here. Michigan did beat a 21-point favorite, Ohio State. We talked about that on Jeff's show. I loved how Nick broke it down. It was like Ryan Day got too stubborn for his own self and was really adamant that he wanted to show that his team isn't soft. And they were all finesse. And as we saw, they're still soft. He loses a 21-point favorite. Go Blue. So, okay, I got a challenge for you since we've got 3 games per graphic. Give me your best bet from each one of these. We'll start with tonight's games.
Tulane, minus 4.5.
Still have my hot hands in my pocket. I was wondering why I was catching on fire down here. State champs, 2A state champs, Conway Christian. First time in 60 years that a team from Faulkner County won it all.
Smitty, I told him Hayfield hangs 90 on him. Let's not tip our cap to him.
Probably. But Conway, last time somebody from Faulkner County had even been there, Conway was there in 2004 with Peyton Hillis. I don't know if y'all remember that name.
Yeah.
Madden Overboy.
Just
is he doing okay? Is he okay?
Saved 2 kids in the ocean. Yeah.
I know he was,
Okay.
He is he's happily retired, living on a farm.
The weirdest Madden cover of all time. Wasn't that like fan voted too? Wasn't that the year they did like the fan voting and it ended up being him? I think it was odd.
I don't know. Pretty cool. Hometown kid. Madden cover. Not many people can say that. All right. So Q has Tulane tonight.
Yeah, I like Tulane team total, and I'm going to play Tulane team total 25.5, and I'm also playing the over 57.5 in UNLV and Boise.
Smitty.
Yeah, I'm looking at these games. I like the over. I haven't played it. I'm going to jump on. I'm going to play the over in the UNLV Boise State game. I think that one's over too. And I think the guys, Nick and Q, great used car salesmen. They got me. I'm going to look at that Tulane team points. I'm going to jump on that too. Let's go. Let's make some money tonight.
Yeah, based on my numbers, I've got to go Tulane. They should be favored by at least a touchdown. So I'll lay the points with Tulane as my best bet with UNLV plus 3.5 coming in close. I don't know what that number is now as I look real quick, unless one of y'all have it up. I want to say I saw it as high as 5.
I've seen 4, 4.5.
4.5 now. Give me UNLV too.
Yeah.
A little bonus bet. I'm taking UNLV plus 4.5. All right. then the part one of the Saturday slate. Give it to me, Q.
Arizona State money line. I think it's minus 130, minus 127, something like that.
Miami of Ohio money line.
Good job, Ken. Hope they give you a winner.
Yeah, Miami of Ohio.
May have to be on it
Miami
too.
of Ohio definitely the best bet here for me.
Going against the website, because it would say Ohio
yeah.
plus 3 plus 2.5. Easy.
Are we gonna get reprimanded in an email going against the website?
I believe in Stark. I will say Texas minus 2.5.
I mean, you didn't give Q grief for going against our website when our website says Iowa State. He said Arizona State. I mean,
Okay, good. I don't want to. If I'm not on the next show, I might have got suspended for a show. So just let everybody know.
Smitty, are you editing the site? Is that you now doing that? The only one that's on Iowa State. All right, and part 2 of the Saturday games. Who you got?
Oregon, I dropped it down to minus 3, kept it under our minus 140 check that we've used all season long.
Yeah, same way for me. As much as it scares me, like I said, something is weird. Like this does feel like a who knows something. But Oregon, knowing that they win, they should get a bye. I think.
Nick, I've never heard
this
somebody
could be a
scared
blowout.
me, and then
What
I've
are you
never heard
drinking there? What are you drinking there, Q?
a little Knob Creek. It's good for you. Good, keeps you warm. It's
Ken
20
says
degrees
SMU.
outside.
I mean, it looks like you're in the Rockies, that toboggan on.
Nick, I'll tell you, I've never heard somebody say I'm scared of a bet. By the way, I'm going to lay the alt line minus 6.5 and 9.5 also.
I know. I'm right. Right.
Just got to put that out there.
I will play. Yeah, I'm probably playing 3 different alt lines as well. But yeah, it's just something. Hey, if I lose, I lose.
The bet, by the way, he's going to have 3 touchdowns tonight.
Sticking with the numbers,
Plus 400 for
SMU.
Oregon.
SMU minus 5 based on our numbers, minus 5 on the site.
I go my under in the Clemson SMU game. 55 and a half.
Yeah, probably a good call. I'm gonna go Oregon minus 3.5. My number's 6. So I think I'm gonna go with the Ducks as my best bet. Appreciate you guys in the chat. If you have anything else you want to add, do so now as we tell you about Home Field Apparel. Q.
Home Field Apparel, great quality. I just ordered something the other day. It should be here tomorrow. Fast shipping turnaround time, especially for the holidays. Use code INSIDERS for 15% off your first order. If you've already ordered using an email, that's fine. Just go make another one. John Doe at Yahoo. Just because you have Gmail doesn't mean you can't have it. It's a free country. You get another 15% off. Takes 2 seconds. Order it. Smitty's Arkansas State should be here any day. We've all got plenty of shirts from them. Great quality at a great price. Get a retro look by Homefield. 15% off. Code INSIDERS.
Look at that. Unscripted ad read. He didn't even know it was coming. Good job, Q.
Bam.
All right. Well, for us, this concludes the regular season preview shows. After this week, we will have something for the bowl previews and all that good stuff. Nick and Parker are working on some cool stuff for the bowl season, including opt-outs and more information to help you handicap what is a absolute drunk fest of bowl season. Outside of the college football playoff, who knows what's going to happen? I know Arkansas, bowl eligible, 6-6, are already down 6 offensive starters. So, including Luke Hass, who just entered the transfer portal today.
Love that kid.
Yeah, we knew it
Not
wasn't because of
why
the
you
draft.
don't get him more involved in the offense.
I have no idea. That was the dumbest thing by Bobby Petrino.
Great show. Thank you, Ken. We appreciate you being here. All right. Well, we will see you next week for the recap show. We'll do another college football playoff ranking reaction show until we get sued by ESPN for showing the broadcast. Until then, drink your Viva tequila and go order some stuff at Home Field Apparel. Makes for great Christmas gifts. Cheers, y'all.